when it comes to property management, there are 10 really basic tips I can give on how to be a better landlord or property manager. For the most part, this is really not a very difficult job. Why so many landlords fail and property management companies fail is because a lack of preparation and following through on the simple things. And there is the functional part of being a landlord or property manager, but there's also the practical part, the things that take time to learn and understand. Most landlords are not going to start right out of the gate understanding best practices when dealing with district courts and landlord tenant hearings and evictions and things like that. But the first and foremost goal is to try to stay out of those goals. So here we go. We're going to go through 10 tips pretty quick on how you could be a better property manager or landlord. And the first one is so very simple: screen tenants thoroughly. Can't stress this enough. You got to do your background checks. You got to verify income, check references, certain references, employment references. Yes, I'm not a big fan of landlord references because I have been scammed before with fake landlord letters, references, things like that. So screen tenants thoroughly. Most times when I shake hands with other landlords in court, 9 times out of 10, the reason they're there is for lack of proper, there's no payments being made. And the number one reason why is because they seem like nice people and they did not screen them. So they signed a lease and off they went. And now they're in court. So number two, very simple: maintain clear communication, establish open lines of communication with your tenants, and respond promptly to inquiries and maintenance requests. That does not mean that you have to stop everything you're doing for a non-emergency call. For the most part, you do want to communicate with your tenants. That will go a long way to helping them. The third thing, from the beginning, we try to front load everything so people understand exactly where we're coming from in the very beginning, and that is to set clear expectations by letting people know right up front, this is what's expected. Rent's due on the 1st. If we don't buy it, have it by the 5th. Here's what happens on the 6th. If we don't have it by the 15th, here's what happens when we file in district court. We're going to tell you right up front. So there's no question about how we're going to manage the property or what our expectations are once you've moved in. The fourth thing, and this gets so many landlords and property managers, is regular property maintenance. Most investors want to simply pull money out of their properties. They very rarely want to invest money in unless it's going to be for a rent raise in which they can pull value out of the property. If they can't gain typically immediate value out of it, most landlords do not want to make preventative repairs in advance. They're usually reactive. And this can get you in a lot of trouble. And my personal opinion is be proactive, get the work done in advance. It's an investment property. You should be investing in your investment. Number 5 is be fair and consistent. And that keeps us in management out of trouble. If you're going to set the rules, set them for everyone, follow them. Protocol keeps you out of trouble. So make sure that you apply the rules and policies consistently to all tenants to avoid fairness and avoid legal troubles. Which brings me to number 6. You should understand your landlord tenant laws. You should be staying informed on local, state, and federal laws regarding rental properties to ensure compliance and protect your rights. Fair housing is real and you should be following it. And the things that you don't know can get you in trouble. And if you go to court simply going, I just didn't know, as a landlord or property manager, is never going to get you out of trouble. Ignorance of the law is no excuse for not knowing the law. Okay. Big one. Number 7, respect tenant privacy. You would think that this would be a simple one. Respect tenant privacy. This should be fairly easy. And yet we still come across clients who want to go buy the property. They can't seem to let go. And, you be careful. You can be bordering on harassment for doing things like that. So respect your tenant's privacy. They want to live there just like you would want to. So if you wouldn't want someone sneaking by your property and constantly watching what you're doing, then don't be that way as a landlord, because you wouldn't want that being done to you. Provide notice before entering the property and respect their privacy per legal requirements. Very simple. It's not that hard to do. Now, number 8, handle finances responsibly. I cannot tell you the number of property management companies we've investigated to maybe look into buying, or we looked over other finances on a consultant basis, and we are shocked how quickly a property manager or landlord can muck up their finances. It is so absolutely important that you do the right thing, you do the ethical thing, you do the moral thing. Understand that tenant security deposits are their money, they're not your money. Understand you need to respect these finances. So keep accurate records of all transactions, including rent payments, expenses, and deposits. You want to stay out of trouble. You want to get into a courtroom, be able to prove your case. I can't tell you how many times that I've gotten handwritten notes before court when we've taken over a client and we're helping them evict a tenant, where we get a handwritten note of a ledger that they probably just wrote in the last week or so in preparation for me to go to court. It's not how you do it. Get a QuickBooks, get a financial program, do what you got to do, but keep track of your finances if you're a landlord. If you're a professional property manager, invest in proper software. Number 9, provide safe living conditions. We do not manage low-income property. I cannot stand working with poverty pimps and slumlords. So I have chosen to avoid those kinds of properties because, unfortunately, more times than not, the landlords are just not the kind of clients I want to work with. So to ensure that your property meets safety standards and address any hazards promptly, to protect the tenant's well-being. Because if the tenants get hurt from your negligence, I assure you, your insurance is not going to protect you. Okay? Your job is to provide a safe living condition. If you're going to rent somebody a car, it should be a safe car. Well, it's the same thing with a home. You wouldn't rent somebody a car with the brakes not working, would you? Well, if you would, then you're not the kind of person we'd want to work with. And I'd say something about your moral character. All right, number 10, and this is the last one. Build a respectful, positive relationship with your tenants. Foster that positive relationship. You want to build your relationship with your tenants to create a pleasant living environment and encourage lease renewals. And if you do not have at least a 75% renewal rating, that says a lot about your properties. It says a lot about you as an owner or property manager. Okay. So there is a relationship here, and you are building a relationship with the tenants. And that relationship will go a long way. Treat people with respect. They will usually treat you back with respect. Remember, in the other end of the spectrum, these are just people dealing with they're just dealing with life. So if they're coming across a problem, treating them like a human being and trying to work with them will always work better as a landlord-tenant relationship or property management-tenant relationship than one with an iron fist. Okay, there you go. 10 tips on how to be a better landlord or property manager.